Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing, and I'd like to thank Mr. Cleaver for all of the hard work that he's putting into dealing with these housing issues and this housing crisis. Let me ask each of our witnesses here today, do you support the Down Payment Toward Equity Act? Do you think it's important to have assistance for down payments? Ms. Bale?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, but we also do need more supply.
Okay, Mr. Fratantoni?
Yes, Emily, we support down payment assistance, but we agree that supply is the bigger challenge right now.
Okay, very good. Let me ask another question. I'm going to direct this to you, Mr. Fratantoni, and that is, do you know or understand that banks do not give mortgages for low-cost homes? For example, I discovered in Ferguson, right outside of St. Louis, for example, there were homes for $80,000, $90,000 after they had the big incident there. These people could not get mortgages for the most part. And so private equity and others came in and they bought them up, and then they rented them back. People were paying more rent than they would have paid in mortgages. Do you know why banks do not afford mortgages for low-cost homes?
Yeah, I wrote about this to some extent in our written testimony, and we did a research study last year looking really at what are the drivers of that, right? You think there are a lot of fixed costs to making a mortgage, and it makes it much more difficult for a lender to make that loan economically if the loan balance is really very small. And unfortunately, it works exactly to the detriment that you're talking about. It makes it much more difficult to finance properties in these more affordable parts of the country. Some of that you can directly tie to some of the regulatory changes that have been made that have added to some of the fixed costs in the business.
Thank you. I do believe that based on what we understand about the profit margins of the banks, they could really afford to do it. They may not get as much return on their investment if they were doing a jumbo, but I think that in the interest of affordable housing and secure housing for the people of this country, they should be able to do it, and I think we should put more attention to that. Let me just say that I have 3 bills, and the Down Payment Toward Equity Act is but one of them. The others are the Housing Crisis Response Act. Are you familiar with that?
I am, and wish the Build Back Better Act had actually passed in the prior time it was offered, because had we passed the Build Back Better Act, we would have had $150 billion to address the nation's fair and affordable housing crisis, and we would have gotten the kind of relief to consumers.
Thank you so very much. I'm still mourning about the loss of that at the hands of 2 Democrats on the Senate side. Let me ask our real estate representative here today, are you familiar with all 3 of these bills?
I am personally not, no.
Are you familiar with the Housing Crisis Response Act?
I am not. I'm an economist.
Okay, the Ending Homelessness Act.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay, and you already said you know about the Down Payment Toward Equity Act. Mm-hmm. So I'm very pleased about that. And let me ask Mr. Fratantoni, are you familiar with all these bills?
Not familiar with the bills. Sorry.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate the knowledge that you have, but I'd like you to take a look at my 3 bills. You already know about them. You just talked about Build Back Better with the $150 billion that we had in that. And in getting to know them better, I would hope that you could also become activists in terms of advocating if we want to really deal with doing something about housing. Now, it should be a bipartisan bill. What can you do to help the Republicans understand that their constituents are also in a crisis in many parts of this country, and they should be supporting it? Can you think of anything else we can do that would convince them that they should support us on these bills, or any that they could come up with in order to produce more housing in this crisis? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think if we pass the $10 billion in the Housing Crisis Response Act, it should be noted that 960,000 Black, 96,000 Black, 83,000 White, 75,000 Latino, and 29,000 Asian Americans in rural and urban communities would benefit from the overall passage of that legislation.
So this is not for any one ethnic group. This is for everybody, because we have a crisis in this country, and we know a lot about what it takes: money, support, and getting it done.
The
I yield back the
gentleladies-
balance of my time.
Thank the gentlelady. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Fitzgerald, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I'd start by asking the witness panel to raise their hand if they agree